All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and we are once again back here at Cary Imports to check out, I wasn't going to say this, but a very special car, the 2012 Mercedes ML350. So why is this special? Well, you're about to find out. But massive shout out to Cary Imports. So why do I keep coming here? Because they offer a warranty on just about everything. This thing has about 145,000 miles on it. I did a 150,000 mile S-Class review. If you want to watch that, go ahead. But they will warranty like any of these cars. So if you're interested, you want to take advantage of a 13 grand ML, which after this review, you might want to, you may do so with a warranty. So huge shout out to them. All their information is going to be down in the description box below, but let's just get this bad boy out on the road because this is a very special car indeed. So I guess before we get into the drive, let's just talk about the looks, because it's actually a third generation ML. So it's been redesigned, refreshed, all that good stuff, and I love it. You know, it's the, as Nas likes to call it, the chariot, the caravan, if you will. I mean, if it's good enough for the Pope, it's good enough for you, right? So it's got a little sunroof here, so if you want to play Pope, you may do so, but, you know, do with that what you will. Yeah, it's a very clean design. You know, it's 2012. It's aged extremely well, you know, very gracefully. It's not showing its age or anything like that. It looks clean, looks stylish. I like it. It's one of my more favorite looking used SUVs out there. So there's that. You know, you can decide for yourself, you know, how this looks, how it doesn't look. You know, let's just get this out on the road finally. So you would be shocked at the way this car gets up and moves. Dude, this car weighs about 4,700 pounds. It's powered by a 3.5 liter V6, which, yes, for this generation, of course, it does produce more power, you know, about 302 horsepower, like 273 some odd pounds-feet of torque. Sounds like nothing, weighs a lot, so you wouldn't expect this thing to move the way that it does. It's really rather sensational the way that it gets up to speed. It's effortless, actually, and it's made it to a 7-speed transmission, which seems to not have any issues kicking down. But let me remind you, this is an 8-year-old vehicle with nearly 150,000 miles on it. So I honestly, you know, I drove the S-Class. I was impressed with that. That car aged flawlessly. Other than some, you know, wear and tear items here and there, that car was fantastic. So I was like, okay, but that's the S-Class. It's the best that they do. It's like a newer generation, whatever. So I assumed that would age rather well, but this, I really wasn't expecting it to. I have continuously been impressed and shocked at some of these older vehicles, dude. Everything works. All the electronics work. There's no weirdness. There's no strangeness with anything. I was kind of like whipping it in the parking lot a little bit before I set off here, and I just flung it into some corners, and I just, you know, braked it really hard, and dude, it just reacted flawlessly. Dude, the steering is one of my most favorite electric steering racks ever. It is so light, so fluid, love it. It just hops off the line. I don't know what it is with these older vehicles, but, you know, I also drove a GLE 43 AMG, a 2018 one. Effortless passing power. You know, yes, it requires a bit of hesitation to kind of drop down the gear, but, you know, it's only a 7-speed, not an 8 or a 10-speed. So, you know what? It still kicks down beautifully, no real issues. You would not expect this thing to drive this well. Now, you know, this is that new generation. They have a bunch of anti-curve rollover things going on here with these newer models, and I'm about to take it on some corners and some rougher pavement here in a bit. But this 4MATIC Benz is doing great. I mean, no wonder the Pope uses it. I swear on my life, dude. Like, I wasn't expecting to like this vehicle as much. You know, this is not the first time. I go into certain reviews of older vehicles like this, kind of expecting me to kind of roast it, but I end up absolutely loving those vehicles. I don't know what that is, but it's just the truth of the matter. You know what I'm saying? This is the ML. It's not like the full-on GLS or whatever from the time. So it's not like the flagship SUV that they produce, but it's like that mid-tier vehicle, the most commonly purchased one. And these things started about 50 grand when they were new. And at the time, it was like a top seller for them. You know, they were moving about 30 to 35,000 units per year, you know, during the time. So the previous generation was absolutely sought after. Everybody loved the ML Benz. You know, all the rich people loved it. Everybody had one on their driveway. But this new one came out. sensational. You know what I'm saying? They made some very nice improvements to these vehicles, you know, with that V6. They did incorporate that direct injection, but like I mentioned, please take advantage of their warranty on a vehicle like this. That's my number one advice to you if you want to take advantage of it. And you should, dude. It drives flawlessly. I'm about to take it over some bumps to see how the creaks and rattles are, but so far it's riding beautifully. For this generation, quietness and NVH was a huge focus for them. They use all this kind of acoustic glass and acoustic design, all that stuff. But here, look at this. Hops off the line like it's a freaking Tesla. There's a bit of a lean for sure, but for the most part, it's really composed for what this is. This thing is so freaking quiet, dude. Like, they were not joking. It does not utilize a double pane glass system, but it is a very thick glass, similar to what they kind of use in like a Lexus GS or something like that. It's a very thick piece of glass. It's sensational how quiet this is, and it's riding beautifully. Again, this is a hell of a car for 13 grand, but I'm more shocked at how well like the performance, the speed is, how effortless it gets up to speed, despite it not having a ton of power for this weight figure. It's handling itself extremely well. Now, because of that weight, you're going to experience some form of roll and all that good stuff, but nothing to complain about, really. As far as rattles, I mean, I'm detecting one slight little thing coming from like the rear kind of trunk area, I guess, from the rear, but that's literally it. This has a nice bank vault feel to it. I like the seating position in this thing. You do genuinely sit up kind of high, not ridiculously, not like you're sitting in a U-Haul, but you know, it's very good. This is kind of what people want in this segment, but still very easy to drive. It's only about like 190 inches long, 189 inches long, so it's not a ridiculously gargantuan thing to, you know, place out on the road. The steering and this power is sensational. Brakes work tremendously well. No issues with the brakes, despite it being so heavy. I like the pedal feel. I like everything about that. I'm about to launch it here in a bit. Feels good, feels strong. The engine is smooth. I like the engine sound of this thing. It's a nice little humming sensation. It's so refined, this car. I mean, you would expect that's a Benz, but it's just like, you know how these things are, right? I mean, Mercedes Benz, you know what they always say, you know, the best or nothing or whatever. You think it's a gimmick, but yeah, you actually drive some of these things and you're like, damn, like these things are really nice. I'll give them that. But for some reason, when I drove the GLE 43, I don't feel like it quite had the same level as athleticism as this vehicle does. I don't know what it is. It's so easy to kind of point and place this thing out of the road. It's very good, very natural brake travel. I mean, you do kind of have to get into it a little bit, but it's very good for the most part. Kind of went over some bumps there, handled it beautifully, but I'm about to go over some more here in a bit and test out more of that handling. It does, of course, have like the whole double wishbone multi-link rear suspension. Does not have the optional Airmatic, I don't believe. It definitely doesn't have that. It's not like fully loaded to the brim or anything with options. It's just got like the nice little things that you need, and I'm about to go over it more than the interior segment, but this is a very effortless experience. You might be wondering, how does this compare to a Lexus? In a lot of ways, the handling coupled with the refinement, it's very good. This is a few notches above what Lexus does with things like the RX. Not the absolute new ones, but kind of from this generation. Dude, this thing feels like it's riding on air, right? I just went over some railroad bumps there, did not even notice it. But yeah, a lot of people, they get pissy with me when I mention Lexus, and when I say that it's not the best car in the world or whatever, people get very pissy with me. All the cars are good. You know, you're not going to complain in any of them, but, you know, objectively speaking, you know, I got to give credit where credit's due, you know what I'm saying? But see, test out more of the handling here. Other than some lean in the corner, this is not bad at all. This thing revs out to about a little over 6,000 RPMs, and it's a buttery smooth V6, but that handling was very good. Definitely has some lean, some roll, you know what I'm saying? Their anti-curve thing, I mean, it's 4,700 pounds. There's only so much that you can do, right? I don't mind it one bit. I really appreciate the way that this thing handles. It's more than enough for a vehicle like this, but again, it's one of those newer SUVs, so you know, it's going to handle a certain way, so I'm not really tripping over that, but appreciate it for the ride quality, for the smoothness, for just how well everything operates with this many years and with this many miles on it. I see why I see so many MLs on the road. Just passing by a GLE now, which was pretty much the same car, which they just changed the name of it. That's about it. But you know, look at this, garbage bumps. There's a few of the plastics rattled there, but for the most part, you're not gonna really complain about any of this. This is very good in terms of refinement and the way that this is aged. The NVH, they weren't screwing around. They definitely did go all out with that. Such an effortless driving experience with all these idiots on the road. It's doing my most favorite thing, lowering my blood pressure. That's very good. That's why I kind of like these cars in general. You know, these like luxury cars, they just do it for me. But yes, compared to your Lexus vehicles, your Beamer, stuff like that, yes, this is kind of the best in terms of refinement that you can ask for. I will say that a Lexus would probably age a little bit better. The interior panels a little bit. They definitely do use some plastics in here. I mean, I don't know what's up with that, but like they definitely do have a little bit more plastic usage, unlike Lexus, which kind of uses some padded materials and some fake leathers and some padded plastic materials. This is kind of more of the hard plastic. So yeah, because of that reason alone, it's kind of has like these kind of rattly little panels here and there, but for the most part, I'm loving this. This has been a great driving experience, a very satisfactory one that you can definitely operate on a day-to-day basis and be fully confident. You know, it's one of those newer generation Benzes. So if you're running a family, you could throw your family members, you know, wife, kids, whatever in here and be 1,000% satisfied and know that you're pretty damn safe in here, because let's be honest, you know, say what you want about Mercedes, but they do try to incorporate all the latest technologies, and the way they design the front, like the whole structure of it, it's to like reduce vibrations and to like make it as rigid as possible or whatever. That was one of the things that we were talking about with the chassis. So yeah, having a good chassis is great for handling it and whatnot, but like it's soaking up the bumps. It's a nice, safe ride. It's a good, like, nice little cocoon of an automobile to put family, kids, whatever. So that next level technology definitely aids them in being somewhat ahead of their class, somewhat ahead of their time. So that's another good thing about owning something like this, again, with a warranty. So there you go. But with that established, let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior, shall we? Okay, so talking about this interior space. So this particular Benz is not loaded to the brim with all kinds of unnecessary options. Honestly, it's got the main option that I want, 4MATIC. So nice, usable, year-round vehicle. I like that, so that's pretty damn good. It is based on a rear-wheel drive architecture, so you could actually get a rear-wheel drive version of this vehicle, but this is the 4MATIC, kind of the one that you want, so that's good. I'm glad to see that here. Now this interior, it's nice. I like the cleanness of it. You know, it's not like the new ones where everything is kind of just shoved into a screen where they just have two big screens and that's it. That's the interior. No, this is actually, you got some buttons here. Very nice. Again, not chock full of options, but it's got the nice little things that you would ever need in a vehicle, like heated seats. Nice. You have the hill descent control thing. Got the traction control off buttons here. It's got plenty of grip though because of the 4MATIC. And it's riding on some Michelin like Latitude tires or whatever. It's got 19-inch wheels on it. Rides beautifully. I love that. Automatic headlights. One touch up and down windows. Like I mentioned, it's not double pane glass or anything like that, but it's very good. I love the one touch in all four corners. That's fantastic. Seat controls are great. And you got 3-way memory seats, which is fantastic. Doors have a nice weight to them. It feels of quality, feels like a bank vault in here. So that's a nice little feeling that everybody likes. You know, plenty of space in the door pockets here for large water bottles. Very intelligently designed. But let me tell you, this interior cabin has aged virtually flawlessly. This is very damn good. Like, you look at the seats, you look at the rear seats, it's fantastic. I will say though, this wood paneling, I do like the wood in here. I like the wood grain. I like the way it looks. It's nice, tasteful, matches this beige interior extremely well, but there are some hairline cracks going about it, but honestly, it's not too ridiculous. Honestly, I'm going to forgive it, but I will admit there are definitely some hairline cracks going around here, but for the most part, it's very nice, very beautifully done. I will say this, you know, I put my finger on this, right? A new Benz will kind of feel like that. See, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot more uses of hard touch plastics kind of all around, so there is that. Like, there's this whole center console, like when you go over like really trash bumps, like this centerpiece, you can kind of feel it rattling, as well as in the rear somewhere, but that's about it. I mean, again, for 150k miles, this is really well, actually really well done. Steering wheel, I love the steering wheel. You know, obviously I love the fluid nature of the electric steering rack when I'm driving it, but you know, this thing, gripping onto this thing, it's absolutely wonderful. It does truly feel like a top level driving experience, like something that's of like 50 to like 70 grand. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really does feel that way, and you can have it for 13 grand, so that's pretty amazing to me. So it does feel like a quality object to own and pilot. I'm just really satisfied with the way that everything has aged. You got some nice little buttons here on the steering wheel as well, make everything a little bit easier to use. This little 4-spoke design. It's got these little paddles, but don't worry about it. Just leave it in the automatic mode. You should be fine. You know, usually with the 4-wheel drive vehicle, there's like this stupid, like, you know, kind of shuddering sensation when you kind of, you know, whip the wheel around a little bit. I kind of noticed that with like some Range Rovers and some Porsches. This absolutely fluid, works flawlessly, works beautifully. There's no stupid check engine lights with this car. Everything works, everything's functional, all the electronics, all the buttons, all the switches, everything works as it should. So, you know, maybe these cars are more reliable than what people give them credit for. Maybe, again, owners, please let me know. Like, I will tell you, when I reviewed the S-Class, right, the 150K mile S-Class, people were sending me links to the forums, which you probably shouldn't put links down in the comment section, but whatever. I still checked it out regardless, and there was a gentleman who had a 2014 S-Class. He bought it brand new at the time in 2014, a W222, and he put 215,000 miles on it. In the course of 6 years, he never had one issue with that vehicle. That's an S-Class Benz, like a new one. And he was so satisfied and so thrilled with his ownership experience. He actually, in 2020, bought a S560 Benz, brand new, again, to kind of redo the whole ownership experience again, I guess. But that's incredible. People have, you know, this one's got 150K. So, I mean, these things with mileage, they're aging well, and apparently they're holding up pretty well. So there's that. This center layout is very good. I like how the climate control completely separate. I always love this old school kind of dial that they have for like the temperature controls. Absolutely love that. Fan speed, easy to use. One touch, just turn everything off. Fantastic. This infotainment, a little screen here, but you know what? It's nice. It works. It's operated by this little thing. You know, again, it's not like the new vehicle, so there's not like a myriad of options and selections here. It's just a nice few little things here and there. You know, you got the navigation here. You got Bluetooth audio. Dude, this audio system is bumping. I love the audio system. This is actually one of the better audio systems I have tested for like an older vehicle. It's not like a branded thing or anything like that. It's just a nice little audio system. Love that. Got a nice backup camera and like a trailer hitch control thing. That's another thing. These things tow like 7,200 pounds. I was not expecting that. These are very capable automobiles. Love that. Got a nice little dial pad thing here to, you know, make phone calls and stuff. Practicality wise, like the center armrest thing, kind of like press this. Both of them kind of open up here, and got plenty of space back there, as well as a USB cable thing. Two nice big cup holders. Glove box is a good size. These seats, extremely comfortable. Usually, like on new Benzes, the seats can be like a bit hard, a little bit rough. This, I guess, you know, it's aged really well, so, or, you know, it's got 150K miles on it, so it's just broken in. It feels very soft, and you know what? Because of the initial rigidness of the leather, it's held up perfectly. It's like that beige interior. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. This kind of cream colored interior, aged flawlessly. Love it. It's nice firm leather. I really like it, but it's plush at the same time. You know, it keeps you in place, keeps you in check. You can do hella miles in this thing because it's just how comfortable it is. Now, the second row. So I like the step-in height of this vehicle, and it's perfect. It's a little mid-sized SUV thing. You know, you don't need like a, you know, step-in ladder or anything like that. You just kind of slide your tush in here, no big issues. But I'm not gonna lie, there's not a massive amount of space in the second row. Like, it's not like an absolutely cavernous amounts of legroom or anything like that, but it's good. I'm 5'11". I fit in here in the front and the back, no issues. And you know, headroom obviously is never going to be an issue. So there is that. Yeah, very nice. And also, dude, when you bust open that trunk, huge amounts of cargo space in that trunk. You know, honestly, they could probably push the seats back a little bit and give you less trunk room and give you more leg room. That's how much space is in that trunk. And when you lift up the little thing, there's a spare tire back there as well. So fantastic. There's a lot of old school niceties going on with this vehicle, even though it's kind of like that new generation, third gen ML. You know what I'm saying? I really like it. I like the changes that they did. I like how quiet it is. Nice little amenities inside the interior. You know, the gauge cluster, again, very nice, beautiful to look at. The little helper screen in the middle, again, everything works. Nothing's pixelated, nothing's broken, there's nothing ridiculous going on in here. Everything just works. It's satisfactory to own, to drive. I wasn't expecting that. It's so fluid and comfy and a smooth engine. I mean, it's, in some ways, this is actually a more refined experience than the Lexus. However, the interior panels have not aged quite as well as some of the Lexus cars I've tested, even with 250,000 miles on it. So that's something to note. But you gotta forgive it. There are a lot more plastics being used here, which for a 50 grand car, I don't know why they did that, but you know, whatever, it is what it is. 13 grand, get it with the warranty, phenomenal machine. I was not expecting to say that, but here I am. Even I kind of want this thing now. So, and it's like surprisingly quick. I have no idea why, with 4,700 pounds and only like 300 horsepower. I don't know why this thing feels so effortless and so quick. That's my review on the ML350. But more importantly, I want to know your thoughts, and I want to know if there's any owners out there. Please let me know how it's held up. Regardless of how it's held up, I like this one. Please get a warranty and enjoy it that way if you want it. And it's very prestigious at the same time. So, Cary Imports information is going to be down in the description box below. That'll do it for this review. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.